I followed a crying child into the woods, but they vanished. I heard the crying just after midnight. A thin, pitiful wail carried through the trees behind my cabin, high and desperate, the kind of sound that forces you to listen. I sat up in bed, my heart already pounding. It was wrong. No one should have been out there. The nearest neighbor was miles away, and the woods behind my cabin were dense, stretching for acres. But the crying didn't stop. I hesitated only a second before grabbing my flashlight. My boots thudded against the wooden porch as I stepped outside. The cold night air bit at my skin, but I barely noticed. The sound was coming from the trees. I shone the flashlight toward the woods, my stomach twisting. "Hello?" I called. The crying hitched, a few sharp, uneven gasps, then silence. My breath clouded in the cold air. The beam of my flashlight cut through the trees, but I saw nothing but shifting branches. Then, a movement, something small darting between the trees. "Hey, wait!" My voice came out hoarse, but I was already moving, stepping off the porch and into the woods. Twigs snapped beneath my boots. The child was just ahead, a shadow darting through the underbrush. I barely caught a glimpse, a small frame, too thin, moving too quickly. "Are you lost?" I called, my breath coming faster. "I can help you." The child sobbed. The sound ripped through the trees, hollow and broken. It was close now, just ahead. I pushed forward, my flashlight bouncing through the darkness. Then, the crying stopped. I froze. The silence was sudden, unnatural. My pulse thudded against my ribs. I swung the flashlight beam around. The trees stretched tall around me, their branches shifting in the wind. My breath rasped in the quiet. The child was gone. I turned in a slow circle, shining the light in every direction. Nothing. The wind stirred the leaves, whispering through the trees, and something deep in my gut twisted. I shouldn't be here. I took a step back, then another. And then, just as I turned toward the cabin, a whisper, right behind me. "You found me." I spun, flashlight shaking. No one was there. The breath in my chest turned to ice. A twig snapped behind me, then another. Like footsteps, but not one set. Many. The darkness pressed in, the wind carrying sounds I couldn't place. Low murmurs, rustling leaves, a strange rhythmic clicking. I ran. Branches tore at my jacket as I stumbled through the trees, heart hammering. The ground felt wrong beneath my feet, shifting like it didn't want me to leave. Then I saw it, my cabin. The porch light glowed in the distance, and I pushed harder, lungs burning. But just as I reached the clearing, the crying started again, right behind me. I didn't look back. I bolted inside, slamming the door shut. My chest heaved as I locked it, hands shaking. The flashlight clattered to the floor. Outside, the crying stopped. The wind howled through the trees. I backed away from the door, my pulse a frantic drum in my ears. I reached for my phone, fumbling to call someone, anyone. But then, a soft tap at the window. I nearly dropped the phone. My gaze snapped to the glass. A child stood there, small, too pale. They stared at me, their dark eyes too wide. Then, they smiled. And just before they vanished into the dark, I heard it again. A whisper. "You found me."